Okay, welcome to Krista Reads More. I'm Krista Turner Clark. Some stories are meant to unsettle you, and today's episode leans all the way in. This week features an exclusive interview with M.A. Savino, an erotic horror author with 11 published books and numerous anthology pieces. Her latest, Don't Knock, released on Friday and is available on Kindle Unlimited. So be sure to check it out. Melissa, first of all, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you
How are
for
you
having
doing
me.
today?
I'm good. I'm good. Happy we got to speak in person finally.
I know. I'm just
Well,
like the
sort of in
biggest.
person. Sort of.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just like so thrilled. I just could look at you all day. I'm so thrilled. So, let's just dive right in
Okay.
because I'm just ready. What drew you to erotic horror?
I mean, it was, I guess it's like I was, writing these stories, dark psychological stories and stuff like that. And then, they were getting traction, but I kept seeing people wanting, dark, like real dark, like pitch black. And then, of course, I didn't know what that meant. So, of course, I Googled it because Google tells you everything. And I'm like, oh, I didn't think anybody would really want to read something so dark. So then I was like, I saw the cover. It was a pre-made for my cover artist for You Should Have Kept Driving, and it was one she had pre-made. And I'm like, oh, that'd be a great serial killer female cover. So I sent her a message, told her I wanted it, told her how to fix it and adjust it for me, and from there I built the story around the actual cover, which I tend to do that a lot. Is like I see a cover and I'm like, ooh, that'd be a good cover for this kind of story. So that's like was my first, clue that I wanted to write an erotic horror story. And I really didn't know exactly what direction. I knew I wanted her to be crazy, and I knew I wanted her to really be like vicious. And I told myself, I'd start typing something and then I'd delete it. And I'm like, no, that's too much. And then I kept doing that, and I'm just like, you know what? No, it's not too much. This is what I want to write, and I'm not going to care, not give a shit. Sorry. What people think. I'm just going to write what I want to write and let this girl be vicious, be nuts, be like all over the place. And I'm like, I want her to be like vengeful and oh, somebody that you love but you should hate, but you want her as your friend, but also you'd be scared because she's crazy. And it's like then like I finished the story, and then my betas started reading it, and they're like, this is amazing. And I'm like, really? I was like, seriously, you guys love it? And they're like, yeah, this is awesome. And once they started sharing it to other people, and it just kind of went from there, and everybody seemed to love it. And I'm like, okay. So then it was kind of the same thing when it got to Don't Knock. It was, I started seeing people looking for paranormal romance and demons and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay. But I have like this author alphabet thing. You know how book readers do reading books of the alphabet?
Oh,
They're like A, they want a book with A title, B title. And I'm like, I need a D. I got my Y with You Should Have Kept Driving. So I was like, don't knock. I came up with don't knock. And I'm like, okay, why shouldn't people knock? Okay, because they're going to die if they knock, but only certain people. And then I just kind of built on it from there. And sometimes it's just trying to seeing like that the reader wants something, and trying to, you know, build the story off what they were looking for, as opposed
yeah.
to what sometimes what I wanted to write. So it kind of like turned into that. Um, but
Oh, that's so
I,
interesting.
I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, but I mean, it's like I can scroll through my like cover artist books, like her like pre-made covers, like for days. Don't
Hmm.
Knock wasn't a pre-made cover; it's one I sent her the idea, and then she built it into a cover for me because I kind of knew what I wanted. Because people are like, oh, masked man, but so there's like a little masked man in Don't Knock, well, demon, and then but I also, but I had her put it together for me in a way that I wanted. Like she'll send me something and I'm just like, no, change this and tweak that. And she's very understanding. Like some cover people are just like, no, and da da da. She's like, she does exactly what I want her to do. So it's like I appreciate that she understands. Like even if it's something little. Like
Yeah.
one little
Yeah, I
thing.
mean,
However, she had like a weird
mine,
flick on her hand. It looked like a flame, and I was like, I don't like that. It doesn't have a purpose. And she took it off, and so it's kind of like one of those things. But or but I can send her pretty much any idea I have. Like I just mock up something, and I'm like, I don't really know how to make stuff. Like I sent you that one for Quiet the Pain. That's going to be the next one I'll probably be working on after the word search. Um, but I give her like an idea and then tell her what to add into it, and then she makes it into like a really pretty cover.
yeah,
So
that's cool that you get your ideas from kind of covers, and
yeah, it's like I could
that's really
see one and
neat.
be like, "Ooh, that'd make a good story and about this."
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so are there any boundaries you won't cross on the page, or do you believe this
I won't
genre is
do descriptive animals or children, anything like that. Like in book two of the You Should Have series, in book three, there's some passing mentions, but nothing detailed with children. And I don't really like to do like animal stuff. In Libitina, I did have a mouse, like a rat sacrifice thing, but it was a rat, so I was like, eh. Some people love rats. I don't really care for them, but other than that, I really don't, like dogs, cats, normal pets. I wouldn't want to do something like that with animals because that's a lot of hits a nerve with a lot of people. So, and
yeah,
kids definitely.
yeah. It can definitely blur the lines in
Uh
the
huh. Yeah.
genre. So being a published author of 11 books now, what was the first book that made you think, yeah, I actually might be good at this?
Um, that I might be good at it. I feel like maybe the prickling, but when I realized I loved it was the very first book I wrote because it's like you get a lot of things inside of your head, things that bother you and trouble you. Because everything I write has bits and pieces of truth built into it. Like every story I write, there's some kind of truth somewhere in there that really happened that was really true, and it's like if you have issues or problems or a past that's hard or that you don't like to talk about with people or you want to tell everybody but you don't want anybody to know like that was you or whatever, you can put it in a story and it's fiction, so nobody really knows it was that real or did that really happen. But if someone ever asked me, okay, did this really happen, I'm like, yeah. I tell them, but it's like I don't openly tell people like what parts of a book are true.
Oh, okay.
It's very
Interesting.
helpful in your head and in your heart too to like
Hmm.
if you took anything that was bothering you that you've been through in the past and stuff like that that you needed to get off your chest or out of your head, it really helps to get it, or a constant dark thought or dark feelings. You just stick them in a book and just let everybody else have it. It's not your problem anymore. It's on the page and let everybody else see it and read it. And it's very, very therapeutic, I feel like.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, for sure. I can agree with that.
It's like
Have
taking your life diary and taking bits and pieces of it and putting in everything you write. So it's out there. Your story's already most all the way out there. And people just have to read your books to know some of this is true as they're reading through it.
Yeah, I
Does
love
that make
that.
sense?
Well, yeah, it does. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. I totally can relate. Have any of your family members or your husband ever read any of your books?
He doesn't read anything. I don't even like reading instructions. My husband's aunt, she pretty much has read almost all of my books. I don't know if my sister's read any of them. I haven't asked her, but we don't talk too much. But on my friend who's also my sister, she's read everything pretty much. But most of the people in my family aren't really book readers. I mean, I don't have like a huge. My cousin in Arkansas is. She just messaged me the other day. She's like, I'm behind. I need this book, and this book. But she loves my books too, and a lot of my friends too that read love my books. So I usually, they'll either come right to my house to pick up books, or they'll see me at the craft fair and come pick it
Oh,
up in person. So
oh, I love that. I love that. Okay, well, I know you said you kind of get inspiration from, the covers and everything, but do you mind walking me through like how you came up with this idea for Don't Knock?
Well, like I said, partly from the readers, like readers wanting something like paranormal, dark, or asking for angels, demons. Da da. It's not angels, but there's demons, and then masked men and stuff like that. And I don't really know specifically what triggered it. Sometimes I'll just start, like, it started out as I needed a Halloween story for an anthology. It's in the Halloween Horror Show anthology. I was contacted by Jamie Spicer to ask if I'd like to be a part of it, and I was like, sure, I got some time right now. I'll write a book. And that's when I decided to do Don't Knock and came up with the title. But then I was like trying to figure out, what I could do. So the shorter version of Don't Knock is in the Halloween Horror Show, and how it started is she's already the demon's lover. How it started, and I ended it on a cliffhanger on purpose because I knew like there was more story to that story. Like there was hints in there that something happened that made her the demon's lover, and then where it ended, I knew because it ended on a cliffhanger, people are going to want to read more. So I knew the way I wrote it that I could add a beginning and then add an end. And when I write stories, sometimes I could start a story in like the beginning and write the first couple chapters, and then out of nowhere my head's just like, let's just write the last chapter, and I'll skip the entire middle and I'll write the last one or two chapters. And it's very, I don't know if it's because of my ADHD or what, but I'll like write backwards. I'll start with the last chapter and then I'll start writing backwards. And I do that sometimes when I get stuck. If I start writing a few chapters and I'm not sure where I want to go, but I know how I want it to end, so I'll just skip the middle and go right to the end, and then kind of write backwards until I kind of figure out, okay, here's where this chapter ended toward the beginning. This is where I made it up to. Now I know how to bring the middle together, which is kind of weird, but it works for me for some reason. Like, I started Quiet the Pain. I wrote the first two chapters, and now I have like 5 chapters that are in the middle already done. But it's in the middle, so it's like then I have to work forward to the middle or work from the middle toward the end, and then just go back and finish it. It's just, I think it's because my brain, it's like one day it's like here, and the next day it's like, leave that for now. Let's write the terrible part now. It wants to be vicious today, so we're gonna write the vicious, ruthless part first, and then then the next day I'll go back to the more kinder beginning. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
depends on my mood, I guess. I don't know.
I love that. So if you could describe Don't Knock in 2 words, what are they?
Hot cock. I didn't know how to say it. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. She learns to love it, I guess. But
Uh, I can't wait to get to it. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I have to ask this. Walk me through also how you came up with my personal favorite book of yours. You should have kept driving.
so, um, I decided she was going to be a cannibal. My husband's going to kill me. He, I always like look at him like he's got nice thigh, like his leg muscles are nice and muscular. And I always tell my husband if there was ever the end of the world, that I would slice up his thighs and cook him over an open flame with barbecue sauce. So it's like that visceral feeling when you like desire someone so much, that I was like kind of pulling off that part of it, where I was just like, okay, maybe my character can have that kind of personality where she like loves that part of a man's body so much that she will slice it up, make candied bacon out of it, stew, you know what I mean? That she's like, I don't even care. I just want him, so I want him in my mouth.
Yeah.
So I kind of built on that a little bit. Plus, I knew I wanted like somebody, like I said before, super really insane, like pathological, but also like with dark humor. Like I wanted people to like love her even though they shouldn't, and want her to be her friend, you know, despite what she is and who she is, because she's very mysterious and very like just she's just the kind of person you'd want as your friend rather than an enemy for sure. But funny story is how I originally started it. It started out as Griffin point of view, and it was gonna originally be him talking and stuff like that, and his the reason why he is the way he is, and like it's probably going to come out. I'm probably going to end up doing a Griffin volume, like I'm doing the Willow Academy series, which is going to be character volumes, because it was going to be that the bunker was originally owned by his father, and from the time he was just a child, his father was bringing women to the bunker, and that's why it ended up turning into being Griffin's eventually, and then, you know, with Benny and stuff like that. But it shows that the father brought him his first victim for Benny. That, or for Griffin. That's how the original was this. Nobody knows that. I haven't told anybody that. But that's how I originally started it. I don't even think I have it on my phone anymore. I might have deleted the whole thing because I started it and I was like, nah, that's not the way I want to go. And sometimes I'm dumb and I delete stuff, but I should have saved it, because it was like I like write a lot of chapters on my phone. I don't have any room on my phone for updates. There's so many chapters on my phone. But it was originally going to be Griffin talking and like talking and speaking and stuff like that. And then from there it was going to be Willow, Odie coming in, and then all that stuff like that. And it was going to end up being kind of a duel. But then I was like, I really want it to be her, like in her head. So I kind of put him like off to the side and made him like a secondary character, or more like a third, because Ari's like the secondary. And I ended up just going with, you know, Odie being the main character in the story, which everybody loved it, you know, but I'll probably end up doing a volume for Griffin. And maybe I can find what I deleted on my phone, maybe not. But it was originally going to be a Griffin point of view and her. And I did only one, which
Way
was
to
her.
drop that, Melissa. Now that I have your phone number, I'll be texting you. Hey, when are we thinking you're gonna start that, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I love hearing, like, that is so cool. That puts like
Yeah,
a whole
that's
bunch.
like not something I haven't told anybody on any Zoom or any podcast or anything,
Oh,
because it just popped in my head. Like originally I was going to do Griffin, and I really never said anything until now. But
I love that though. Like we need it.
yeah,
I
the
need it.
secret, the secret.
Yeah, I love that. So, talking about your books and everything, so I want to know, like, as M.A. Savino, what does a writing session look like to you? Like, give me everything. Like, what do you start with? How do you get in that mindset? Tell me it all.
How do I start writing a story to start begin with, or just a typical day?
Just a typical writing session.
Um, I'd say like, you know, I get up in the morning and stuff like that, take the dog out, and usually get a drink, and then just kind of sit. And sometimes I'll start. I had to tell myself to stop at noon, because I got to the point where it'd be like 3 or 4 o'clock and I haven't eaten anything. I'm like, so I get so consumed in it, like I can't stop myself. And I had to get to the point where I'm like, I have to stop at 12, because like my butt's numb, my legs don't work. I gotta get up. I haven't eaten. And it gets to the point too where your eyes, like the words on the screen, start to get blurry, and you can't even look at it anymore. So I've had that happen a few times, and I've had to just shut it down and then take a day where I didn't write the next day to give my eyes a break, because it can be unnerving when you're trying to type and your eyes won't work, but I find myself like having to fix a lot, because like I'll type so fast that it'll like if you've seen a typical paragraph, it just has red lines and squiggles and double underlines. It's like, all this is spelled wrong. It's not that it's spelled wrong, so my fingers are moving so fast they're hitting buttons it's not supposed to. I don't know what I'm saying, but I'll have to go back through and fix it. But and sometimes I'll think something in my head and it doesn't make it onto the page. Like, I'll start typing and then I'll think about something and then I'll just keep typing and then I'll think I put what my thought was, if that makes sense, into the story. Then I'll go back and read it and I'm like, I skipped something. You can like hear it when you're reading it back. I'm like, I skipped something in the middle. It's because I thought it in my head, but it never made it into the computer onto the page. So sometimes I have to like go back and reread it. So I usually write at least one chapter, go back, reread it, try to do some editing, and then before I go on to the next one. But then I'll end up getting to the point where I keep rereading and then I'm like, I don't want to look at it anymore. I don't want to see it. I don't want to look at it anymore. But usually I do, when I start a story, I'll do like the first 3 or 4 chapters and send it to a few beta readers and say, hey, you know, what do you think so far? You know, and usually they're like, I kept trying to turn the page to see what happens next. And they're like, you know, because I'll be a little jerk about it and I'll end what I send them on a cliffhanger. And then they're like, come on, what are you doing to me right now? You know, they're sitting there trying to scroll and then there's nothing left. But it'll end on a cliffhanger and then they'll have to wait like a month or 2 for more and they're like, Urgh. But I mean, it's like I want if they're doing that and they have that feeling that they want to keep going, then readers will too. So I try to start, if I can, I try to start every, you know, chapter with like a hook to kind of make you want to keep going, and then end every chapter, you know, not necessarily on a cliffhanger, but usually I try to keep it a cliffhanger where you're like, you know, and then she opened the door. And then people are like, oh my gosh, what's on the other side of the door? What happened? Who's there? You know what I mean? And then you see, you know, it's just, I want people to kind of like when you read a blurb, you're like, you know, who, what, why, when, where. And you want to just keep going. And I've had people, especially with You Should Have Kept Driving, they're like messaging me like, I was supposed to clean today. Now I'm on chapter 20 and I got nothing done. And I'm like, that's great. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear I did my job and made you not, I'm sorry you didn't get your house cleaned today. I'm sorry you canceled your doctor's appointment because you couldn't stop reading. You know, I'm like, I'm sorry, but also I'm happy to hear it because that's what I need to know, that I'm doing something right, which is to keep them engaged and keep them wanting to keep reading it until it's over. And then they tell other people, I couldn't even put this thing down. That's what I want. I want that.
Yeah, I mean,
did I answer the question? Because I get off on a tangent.
you did.
Like,
So you cut off your writing sessions at noon. Do you write every day or?
I don't write on the weekends at all. Like, usually I don't
Oh,
do book stuff on the weekends, but I told my husband ahead of time we're doing this because all I'm missing out on is destroying another wall in our bathroom because we're remodeling. But
that's
on the
fun.
weekends I don't do any writing at all. Saturdays and Sundays I don't do anything unless it's like middle of the night and I can't sleep and then I'm on my phone writing an entire 3 or 4 chapters or something crazy. But other than that, I don't write on Saturdays and Sundays. It's just Monday through Friday and I try to stop at 12. So
Yeah. What I would do to get a hold of your phone.
oh there's
It has all the
Oh,
stuff.
it's just chapter, and then there might be a random grocery list that I forgot to delete, and then maybe a random doctor's appointment that was like a month ago, and then it's literally like 4 years of just chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Then all of a sudden it'll stop and go to a completely different book, and then it'll be like 30 chapters of the same book, because what I'll do is I'll write a chapter on my phone, and then just email it to myself, and then I just have to copy and paste it into my document, reread it again, because usually, you know, if you're typing on your phone, you're typing so fast, it doesn't like autocorrect for you. And I don't know how many times I've been like in bed doing a chapter and I start getting tired. Instead of putting the phone down, I try to keep going and I've dropped the phone on my face. Quite a few times I've dropped my phone on my head, and then I'm just like, all right, I gotta stop writing this chapter and just send it. I'll send a partial chapter to my email and just finish it the next day. But yeah, there's like a lot of chapters. I don't have any room on my phone to save any even my updates on my phone, it's always like, you failed to update your phone. There is no room available. And it always wants me to buy it, but I'm cheap. I'm not going to buy it. And just, it's fine. I don't care.
So, when you're not writing, and you said you don't write on the weekends, do you read, or like, and what genre do you
Well,
typically
actually,
find
like,
yourself reading?
until like last year, I hadn't read a book in like 15 years. Like, I used to, I know, isn't that crazy? I had worked at a hotel, and I worked like an evening shift. It would get real quiet, so I'd read all the time. But then, like, I change jobs and have kids, and life gets in the way, and I just, like, didn't bother with it. And then last year, I was like, I need to, like, I have indie authors reading my stories. I need to do the same. So I read Crimson Chains by Sienna Ray, and I love their writing. Like, the way they write is like, I actually contacted them and said, I want to do a story with you. So we might be doing something later this year together that I've already talked to them about. So, and then I've read Black Spots by Jed Kent. I'm trying to think. I have like a little pile. I don't know what else. Oh, Craving Murder um, by A.V. Donaldson. I've read that. I'm currently on Frat Row, Your Story, which I love it. I messaged you right after I started that first chapter, and I said, getting right into that salt consumption now, are we?
When I
I
when
was like, I love this. So every chance I get, what I usually do is just, when I have downtime, I'll sit down and read a chapter, and then, maybe two chapters if I get lucky, and then, I'll start doing other things. Like, I gotta do housework, and the dog's bugging me, and, so I try to get that stuff, and I gotta make dinner, and, other responsibilities. So it's like I try to write, but then I'm also picking at books. I've gotten a little faster with it, like a little bit
Mhm.
faster, because it took me like 8 months to read Crimson Chains, but not because I didn't want to or because I didn't love it. It was just because there's so many things in the way. So it's like I have my little TBR pile back here. Here's my TBR pile, but your book is downstairs next to my spot. I sit on the couch on the table. So when I have a moment, I could sit there and I could read a chapter or two or whatever until I get through it. And then from there, I do my reviews and stuff, and then I'll pick from my TBR pile. So,
If I wasn't wearing makeup, you would see me blushing right now. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm downstairs in Melissa's house, like a little piece of me. But so, yeah, when you messaged me, you were reading my book, I was like, I don't know, like, because like I admire you and your work so much. I'm just like, I know we write in the same genre, but I'm just like, I don't know if I'm ready for this, So,
but it was like I wanted to make sure you knew. Like immediately, I was like, I'm reading the chapter, and I'm like, oh, well, all right, we're on it right now. We're doing it now, okay? That's like you got on it quick, and I'm like, I'm like, I might be blushing right now too. I'm like, woo, it's a little
that,
hot in here. It's
that's
getting
how you
hot.
write too. Like you hook me first sentence, first paragraph, first chapter,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that. You get right to it, and that's what I
Mm-hmm.
love about your writing. So I haven't heard about the books that you mentioned. So are those books in the erotic horror genre, or are those books like in different genres?
They're just different genres. Like people who've read my books, they're like, I'm like, oh, can you send me yours? Send me a signed copy of yours, or we'll trade. I'll say I'll do a signed copy of mine, and you give me a signed copy of yours. Like I just Brooke Montoya, she wrote Creep, and she asked about wanting a copy of Don't Knock, and I was like, and she asked me how much, and I was like, nothing. You send me Creep signed because I want it signed, and then I will send you Don't Knock. So we kind of started doing that is what I try to do with indies, so that way, they
Yeah.
get their book and then I get their book and it's already signed to me, so I can start my own little indie collection of signed author books. So,
Yeah.
and I have like, what is it called? I have the Mindfuck and 24690. These aren't indie authors. They were sent to me by a reader who had like points or something. Like they had to
Hmm.
use up, and they're not even in this country, but they're like, I'm gonna send you the books and use my points or whatever. And I'm like, they're like, what do you want to read? And I was like, I guess I'll try reading those two because they're so popular right now. So
Yeah.
he sent them to me and they're on my list, but it's like they'll be after I run out of my indie pile to read. You know what I mean? Because it's
Yeah.
like they're mainstream, super, super popular. I want to read the indies first
Hmm.
and, give them feedback and stuff like that and what I felt about their stories and give them reviews before I read something like everybody in the world's read already.
Yeah, I get that. Well, so getting back to Melissa the author, what book or scene did you need recovery time after writing it? Like you had to walk away because it was so dark.
Darkness doesn't really bother me. None of the scenes that are dark really bothered me. Like when I wrote, none of them. Like in You Should Have Kept Driving had a lot of dark
Mhm.
scenes, and I'd finish a dark scene and I'd be like, yeah, it's good. I mean, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I need to like, take a minute and breathe. I'm just like, yeah, that's good. I know, like stuff like emotional stories, like is like in Libitina. There's like a really emotional scene, and that one is like I still can't read the chapter without it making me cry. In that Libitina, it's a religious horror though, which is funny because people are like, you went from writing a religious horror to an erotic horror. How did that work? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. When I wrote Libitina, it's like I started the story and I breezed right through it. No writer's block, no issues, no problems, and I was like, this was super crazy easy. And then, but it's stuff that's sad that I usually need a break from something that's sad or upsetting like that. But when it came to like vicious, vengeful, bloody stew, I'm like, yeah. Yes. I like that. It's kind of like when you watch movies and stuff, you like see a like Titanic or something and I'm like, yeah, this is sad. I don't like it. I don't want to watch it. But and then you see like John Wick and I'm like, yeah, get him. Dexter. I love Dexter. Dexter's like
Yeah,
right now I love Dexter. We've watched everything so far of Dexter.
yeah. I
So,
love that show too.
but I like that. I've always liked that viciousness,
Yeah,
that visceral
yeah.
viciousness.
Oh my gosh, so you don't walk away from the dark parts. It's the emotional. The emotional.
It's
I
just
love that.
I don't want to cry. It's like I get sad and I'm just like I can't see my screen and I'm like I don't want to. I don't like that. I don't like to cry. I don't like that.
I
I
know.
like to read something like yes, and I like to laugh. Like when I used to read all the time, I read like the Janet Ivanovich books with Stephanie Plum. It's like one for the money, two for the something, and three to get whatever. It's like a series. They did like one movie on it with like Katherine Heigl or something, but I like read up to like the 16th one. But I liked them because it was like action and it made me laugh. But it's like now I started reading the darker stuff and I'm like, yeah, stab him.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm a little crazy, just a little crazy.
No, not at all. Like we enjoy the darkness. So, have you ever thought about writing in a different genre?
Oh yeah, I have. So I have the Don't Knock's erotic, paranormal, dark romance. I have erotic, or the horror. What's it called? Religious horror, which is Libitina,
Hmm.
and then I've done dark psychological. I've done a paranormal short story, like a paranormal romance short story, and then I do want to do like a haunting, like a haunted one. That's the one, like a haunted ring. That's the one I was talking about doing with Sienna Ray that I've talked to them about. And then I do want to eventually do like a fantasy, like not like Lord of the Rings, but kind of something like that. Just one book, like kind of, with creatures and mythical animals and stuff like that. And everybody's like, "When are you gonna write it?" And I'm just like, that's a lot of thinking, a lot of world building, and a lot of villages. And then I don't know why, but like, so not just that, but I thought, you know how people do like an Alice in Wonderland retelling,
Oh
or you
yeah.
know, people do that. Don't laugh, okay? What
Oh.
about Smurfs with Smurfette? It would be the only girl in a village of men. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, you can make her
Yeah,
sexy.
kind of. I was like, it's kind of, but it would be closer to more like, in like the fantasy kind of Viking something. I don't know. It was just another idea was tossing around in my brain,
So
but
it's like fantasy monster,
something like
something
that.
like that.
Something, but
To be in your brain,
I know
Melissa. What I
my
like
it's there's a
it.
lot going on up there. A lot.
I
And then I want to do like a funny one. Like I'm gonna do a word search here after Ill Will, which is my short story that's coming out. It's an anti-Valentine short story. It's coming out September 4th, not September, November, or what the hell? February 14th on Valentine's Day. And I'm going to do a word search after that. It's called Triggered. It's going to have all kinds of words that are triggering and stuff like that. And, I want to do author based ones. So I might ask you if you want to do one. So it'd just be a word search. Like I'll tell you to pick like 20 words that describe frat row. And like I'll have a picture, like a little picture of your book and like your blurb of the book on it. But then they'll be in the middle. Will be a word search with words related to your book. So I
Oh,
thought
that's
that'd be
right. That's
something cool.
cool.
So it's like an
Yeah.
adult themed word search, like adult themed word search with author, themes and stuff like that in it too. And then of course there'll be educational stuff like words you've never heard of or words that sound dirty that aren't, just funny categories like that.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to do like a nonfiction, but a funny one called How High. And it's like going to be each chapter is going to be someone's story about when they've gotten high from marijuana
Oh,
and
yeah.
funny stories that they can tell you about that happened. But each chapter will be a true story from a different person. But it'll be funny stuff. Not that I mean, it's just marijuana, not anything else crazy.
Yeah.
It's
That'd
mostly
be
legal
interesting.
in most places now, but because I know I've got some funny stories, which I'm not sharing right now. That's for another time. But so I wanted to dip into a little bit of everything, just so you know what I mean. Because I think
So
it
cool, yeah.
broadens. If you constantly write the same thing over and over again, you're gonna kind of start overlapping and sounding like kind of repetitious. I think
Yeah.
in a way. So I feel like I should dip a little bit into everything just to kind of see, what people
Yeah.
think of it. But I like to laugh when I read, so I kind of bring that into some of my stories, like try to put something funny that happened. Like in Don't Knock, the girl's dog like humps her leg. Okay, we've all had a dog hump our legs before, you know what I mean? But I just
Yeah.
want to put something funny in there that people can relate to. That's probably
Yeah.
happened to them, maybe. But I try to put something a little bit here and there to try to pull a little emotion into everything.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So, if you could go back in time to baby indie author Melissa, what is the one piece of advice you would give her?
Oh God. Read on how to write a book the right way. Read what first person is. There's so much, like, I've learned so much the more books I've written because my first book it's got a good story, but it's terrible. There's like tense flipping and first person, third person flipping, and it's because I didn't know what I was doing. It has a good story, and keep telling myself one day I'll go back and fix it, but also I'm just like, I don't feel like it. I'll just keep doing the good stuff so people can see how much I've improved from the first to now. And it's like I don't have any formal training and I never went to school for it. Everything I've learned, it's from like figuring it out on my own or
Mhm.
from beta readers saying, hey, you flipped a tense here, or this is present tense, but you said this, but it's future tense. So I've learned a lot from my beta readers. So
That's cool. What is the craziest message you've received from a reader about your one of your books?
mm, I I mean, I don't know if it's super crazy, but I have a reader whose son, I think he's like 8 or 9, who loves like Ari and You Should Have Kept Driving. I don't think she specifically read all the stories, but she's probably all the story to him, but I think she's read parts of it, and he finds it hysterical. And he's like has an Ari T-shirt that I had, or a sweatshirt I had him made with an Ari, you know, the little funky eyes and stuff, like the little things that they draw in blood. But he's like obsessed with it. It's like I thought that was that crazy. I just thought it was like interesting because I was like, I hope she didn't read the whole story to him.
Oh my God.
But other than that, it's usually just, you know, people saying that, you know, that they really needed a good revenge story that was really good and vicious, and that they really enjoyed that aspect of it. But other than that, it's not like, it's more complaining they didn't get any work done, which is fine with me because they're reading my story. But I mean, I'm just happy to hear from readers in general. I always, you know, when I find out someone's read my story or recommended it and I don't recognize their name, I'll be like, you know, hey, if you ever want to talk about it, just message me. You know, I'd love to, you know, share your thoughts with me, and I'd like to hear, you know, is there anything I could have done different? You know, or like a girl the other day I saw, like, I've never heard of her. I saw she posted that she read You Should Have Kept Driving, and she's going to start books 2 and 3. And, you know, I was like, oh man, I appreciate that so much, you know, and, you know, I'd love to send you a free copy signed. And she's like, oh my God, you know, are you sure? That's amazing. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I appreciate what she's doing, you know what I mean? Like, she's getting my name out there, and I don't even know who she is. Somebody recommended it to her, and then of course she read it, and then she's sharing it with her readers. So that's like getting my name out there even more. So I just want to, you know, I can't do it all the time, but it's like if I have an opportunity to show my appreciation to a fan or a reader who's sharing my work with others to, you know, help me gain more exposure, then I try to show my appreciation and, you know, give a book or 2 or 3 or 5 away. Or 10.
Yeah, that's how we met. I read your book and was completely blown away, and I wouldn't stop messaging you.
I don't care. You can message me all you want. I don't
I
even mind.
messaged you and I haven't stopped. I was like, I'm gonna stalk her
It's
so
okay.
hard.
That's
She
okay. Stop.
becomes
I
my
don't mind.
friend.
I told you I don't mind the dark stuff. You can stalk me all you want.
Yeah. So we
Just
like
don't
stalking
make
around here.
don't make me cry. That's all. I don't want to cry.
So, do you read your reviews
Oh,
online or do you
oh yeah.
avoid them?
Oh yeah. I read them. I like
You
usually
do.
read the. I read like a few high ones, and then I'll read the low ones. Like there's one on I think it's Goodreads. It's like my mom made me read this. Okay, well, you could have stopped any time. You didn't have to. I only finished it because my mom made me, she said. And she gave me like a 1 star. I was like, okay. And then there's some people that will be like, this was vicious and disgusting. And I had to stop at chapter 4. And I'm like, man, that was before all the good stuff started. I was like, what? Didn't you read the trigger warning? It's literally everything. But I'm like, and then, you know, I've had some that, like, there's one, this is why I just did a blanket trigger warning with You Should Have Kept Driving, because I got one for the prickling that was like, you know, I had listed all, like, the triggers I could think of in that book, you know, right at the beginning. And then somebody gave me, like, a 3-star review and said there wasn't a trigger warning for a hypoglycemic episode. And I'm like, what? I understand that's a thing. My dad had, you know, diabetes and stuff like that, but I'm like, I wouldn't even have thought of it really, because it's like, I didn't realize it would be triggering, but I guess it was for her. So now I'm just like, I put a blanket one at the beginning of like, you know, this has triggers. Just don't read it if you have any. Just, and, you know, and then I'll put no animals or children. You know, that way people know you don't have to worry about these 2 things, but anything else, just don't read it. And then if you're
Yeah.
triggered or you can't continue reading it, then you made the choice to continue reading it when you opened it and, you know, read the trigger warning and know everything's possible. Because I can't, I see some books that have like 20-page trigger warnings, and I'm like, my head hurts. I don't want to write all that out. Here's what it doesn't have. These 2 things. The rest, maybe, probably, Could be.
And
I just don't. I'll skip the. I skip the trigger warnings. Just skip it because it's like I don't have the patience to figure out everything. Because even if you have 20 pages, there's going to be like that one person that didn't put down they have a problem with eyeballs and they don't like people talking about eyeballs, and it's
yeah,
like you get a 1-star review because you said they had eyeballs that looked moist. I don't know. You can't please everyone. So
yeah,
it's just hard in that aspect. I'd say that if you choose to continue reading after the trigger warning tells you everything is in there possibly with the exception of these two things, then it's like you don't see movies having multiple screens listing all their trigger warnings. They give you a
yeah.
couple basic things that may be in the movie, flashing lights, nudity, explicit content. And then
Hmm.
if you watch it and you're triggered, then you knew there could be something, but they don't list all of that before a movie starts. You just watch it and hope you're not triggered. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
So,
they definitely, you know, put us through the ringer with like if we don't list something or I just
mhm.
want to like state for the record, those reviews you were talking about at the beginning where it was like too vicious, too dark and they rate it lower. When I see that on a book, like I get so excited because
Yeah,
that
I'm like,
makes me
yes,
pick it up.
yes, exactly. I'll post it. And I'm like, look at this one. And I'm like, too graphic. I'm like, duh. Literally says erotic horror.
Yeah.
It's like, of course it is. And I'm like, whatever. And then sometimes you'll see one that they'll give you 3 stars and like their comments are all 100% positive. I couldn't put it down, loved it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you couldn't give me 5? I mean, it's like, I don't understand why. It's like, I wish they would tell me why. Sometimes, like, or people will just give you, like, a 3-star rating and no explanation, or a 2-star and no explanation. I'm like, please message me. Tell me
I
what
know.
I could do to make it better. It's like, I can't
Hmm.
do, like, everything and to make, like I said, to make everybody happy, but I can try to make adjustments if it's something I could work on in writing itself, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah, I know. I feel the same way. Like I love criticism, so like I want to be better. So
Right.
like,
Tell me, help me improve
yeah.
myself by writing, by telling me what you think I can do to improve it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So what I'm just so obsessed with you. What are some of the things that like you're obsessed with right now? Like shows, like a movie, candy, food,
Right now,
drinks.
we're watching Lincoln Lawyer. I like that show a lot.
Okay.
Lincoln Lawyer, and then we usually watch, like I said, Dexter, but that's all over with. All the good stuff is over with right now. But we like watching like the cop shows like Rookie and oh, what's the other one that we watch? We watch Tracker, where the guy helps find missing people, but that's like on a break right now too. But anything that's involves like cops or crime and stuff like that, that's like something my husband and I like to watch really. And then like in my stories, I'm always talking about steak and potatoes because I love me a good filet mignon. We had steak last night, New York strip. But I love mashed potatoes. I can eat them 3 days, three times a day. I mean, I love my mashed potatoes. So it's like, and then drinks. I don't really have anything like specific. Like I don't even think I've drank anything today. Sometimes I forget to eat and drink all day. It'll get to be like 4, and my lips are like SpongeBob. Water, and I'm like, I need a drink. And I was like, oh, I haven't had nothing to eat or drink today, because I just sometimes my brain and I get so busy doing other things, writing and
Yeah.
stuff around the house that it's like I miss the triggers like of my body saying you should sit down and have food now. So
Yeah. Well, that's cool. About like your shows and stuff, like what you watch like cops and true crime and stuff like that.
mhm,
So, okay, well, Don't Knock just came out
mhm,
and it's probably too early to ask. Ill Will comes out February 14th.
mhm.
What's next? Like what's next this year? Like can you give
So
us
I'm
tease
gonna do the
us a little bit?
word search is next. That's triggered.
Yeah.
And then I've already started, like, you've already seen the concept cover for Quiet the Pain, which is a blue cover with the flowers on it. And that's just my cruddy concept job. So I'm going to be doing that. And then working with
Mhm.
Sienna Ray. The title of that story is going to be Vintage. So it's going to be
Mhm.
about Haunted Ring. So, and I'm hoping I'm going to have do a mock up cover for my cover artist to do it. I want like a creepy, dark attic with like a really cool old vintage ring on the cover kind of thing. I want it to be very dark and creepy looking. So that, and then I have to start working on my volumes for Willow Academy. And there's a collection, like a tarot collection, that I'm working with a bunch of other authors on. Like, I think it's like 20, because we each get a tarot card, and mine's death, of course. I was like, I'll do it if I get the death card. So there's that, which my story is pretty much almost finished and saved on my computer, but I haven't quite finished it. But I also think I wasn't paying attention to word count, which I have a terrible. I'm really bad about sticking to word counts, like really bad. I always go over. It's terrible. I have a hard time because it feels like the story's rushed if you don't really put the meat in it. Um, and then there's one anthology that'll be coming toward the end of the year that A.V. Donaldson and I and a bunch of other authors that have done an anthology together before. We've talked about one coming, around Thanksgiving time. But that one is is going to be interesting.
Oh,
I
I see
can't
your
really
face.
say what it's going to be about, but it's going to be certain things, certain characters from each author's stories are going to be involved together. I guess is the only way I can describe it. Certain characters.
Ooh.
Maybe you
Well,
and I
you're
will talk about
spooky.
it separately, not where everybody knew.
Oh, well, I've got your number now,
Yeah.
so.
Well, it's like nothing set in stone. It was just something we were tossing around the idea,
Yeah.
but I feel like we kind of settled that we were going to do the idea, but it wasn't like 100%. But so it's possible, but maybe not. But it's going to be interesting.
Ooh, it's gonna be such a good year for you. I'm so excited. I'm so
You,
excited for
you
you.
too. You got No Service,
Oh my
and then
gosh.
what is the next? Is the next one after Frat Row? What is that one?
Oh, Out for Blood. But
Out for
Melissa,
Blood.
this is about you. Like, I just want.
No, I'm so excited though. Like, look at your Frat Row collection behind you. I'm so
Oh
excited.
yeah, those are yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to thank you so much for joining us. It was such a pleasure for your having you on here, and I just want to let all the viewers know that this will be on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So make sure to
Yay.
check it out. And don't forget to go on Kindle Unlimited and download M.A. Savino's newest release, Don't Knock. I can't wait to read it myself. And thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us, Melissa. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.